this town with your host T-Wil, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace, highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud from the silver screen to the hearts we steal. Every frame we capture is the real deal. Talking premieres where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine behind the...
All right. My man Jordan Burton is in the house. T-Wil is in the house. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking Fantastic Four. Jordan and I both saw this movie. Well, we didn't see it together, but we both saw it. And great movie, man. Really enjoyed it. Super excited to talk about it. How are you doing today, Jordan? Everything okay?
I'm doing great. In fact, I'm doing so great. I want you to meet a friend of mine
Oh
that I
wow!
got
Oh wow!
at the movie.
Oh wow!
This thing is the coolest popcorn bucket ever. It's not even a popcorn bucket because on this side you put your popcorn and that fills up to the whole thing. On this side, this is for candy, right?
Oh wow!
This thing has a light, which you can't see. You can barely see, but it's got the Fantastic Four logo with all their names on it.
Oh, I see it up against the wall. Oh
And
man,
it plays
that is
the
dope.
music. And
That is dope.
not only that, this thing twists off. And you can put a drink in this.
That is dope, man.
So, all right,
That
I
is
wanted to
dope.
get the Galactus one, but my theater only had 12 available, and the Galactus one was about the same height. But I heard there was 12 available, and I saw it on Friday. I was like, the only way I would have been able to get that is if I saw it the first showing on Thursday. So, and that was not going to happen. I was at work. But yeah, that was cool. That was $75. You get popcorn, large drink, and candy with it too. So completely worth it. I tried selling some lady. She's like, "How much was that?" I was like, "Oh, 75." And she immediately, her eyes widened. I was like, "You also get a large popcorn, large drink, and candy with it." So I don't know, it was worth it to me. That's the coolest popcorn bucket I own, right next to my Darth Vader popcorn bucket.
Yo, man, that is incredibly dope, man. Like, wow, that's dope, man. I gotta give it to you. That is dope, man. Hey, man, great movie that we just saw. I really enjoyed it, and I think you and I were talking offline. In my humble opinion, I think that's the best Fantastic Four movie ever. Now, with that being said, haven't seen that one from 2015. That ain't saying much, but as far as what we saw, what we witnessed, great movie. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed the storyline. I felt good because honestly, I went back and saw Ironheart, and whew, I am so glad Fantastic Four was good because, anyway, whatever. This isn't about Riri Williams, so we won't do that. But anyway, I enjoyed the movie, man. I thought it was great. I liked the way they did it. I liked the storyline. I liked that it was in the 828 universe. And I tell you what, I never knew the reason for some of the universes. Like 828 is Jack Kirby's birthday, which is 828. I didn't know that. I thought that was kind of cool. I guess they did an homage to Jack at the end of the movie, which I thought was cool. So anyway, man, Fantastic Four First Steps. Let's get into it, man. Again, great movie. Directed by Matt Shakman.
who directed WandaVision. So
I didn't
when
know that.
when I heard he was going to be doing Fantastic Four and that this would be a period piece and set in the 60s, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's got it. I was like, he's fully he's gonna go all in on this. I'm so glad I'm so glad he was the director.
He was great. I tell you what I really liked about it. To me, his characters had depth. So in most of the iterations, I'm not even going to count 2015 because that was a horrible. It should have never been made. It was horrible. So, but in the previous two iterations, Johnny was kind of like this fly by night hothead, but there wasn't any intellectual capacity to him. And understand that in order to be an astronaut and go into outer space, you got to be really smart. You have to be really smart. Okay. And I thought they did a great job, specifically in Johnny's case, of showing, yes, he was impulsive. Yes, he had a wild side, but this guy's pretty smart too. He is pretty damn smart for what he was able to figure out and what he was able to do. And I like that. I like that because this is the Fantastic Four. This is the first family. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed everybody's performances, but specifically Joseph Quinn as the Human Torch, because I felt he had balance. And yeah, he's definitely impulsive, no doubt about it. Kind of flies by the seat of his pants, but he's also a very, very intelligent guy. I thought Vanessa Kirby was great as Sue Storm. Pedro Pascal was great as Mr. Fantastic. And Eben Moss Bachrach was incredible as the ever-loving blue-eyed thing, man. Great cast. Love the way they did it. I love Sarah Niles' character as well. Everybody did a great job. And you know what? You know what else I really liked? I liked the fact that they were able to capture Galactus for the first time. Mm-hmm. Right? Because Galactus is very big, especially in the Fantastic Four lore. Galactus he respects Reed Richards, which coming from Galactus is a lot, right? Galactus eats planets. So there are very few people that he's going to take notice of because most folks are not going to be able to stop him. But he respects Reed Richards, and he definitely respects Franklin Richards, who we'll get into later and why. But I thought it was great to actually see Galactus interacting on the big movie screen, and just for us to get an idea of just how massive he is, right? Just how massive an entity Galactus is. Let's kind of talk through that. Give me your first impressions of Galactus. Give me your thoughts on that, Jordan.
Man, I gotta take you back to when I was a kid. So growing up, I loved action figures, of course.
Of course.
And I used to get the specific action figures. I don't remember what they were called, but they were all different Marvel characters from throughout the universe. Ghost Rider, the Thing, the Hulk, Gray Hulk, different iterations, Spider-Man, etc. And within each packaging, you got a comic of the character, a reprint of their first issue or one of their first issues, and you got a piece to a larger figurine. Sometimes it was Apocalypse, sometimes which I partially made. Sometimes it was the Sentinels. And one time it was Galactus, and I completed Galactus. That's the only build it yourself large figurine that I created. So I built Galactus. Galactus has always been someone so awesome. In fact, when I built that, like my whole family knows who Galactus is because the figurine was like this big.
It's huge, yeah.
Compared to the other figurines were this small. And I've always loved the idea of Galactus. In fact, the first time I saw Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer in theaters, which that's when my infatuation began with the character of the Silver Surfer, which we'll get to later. Which I love this portrayal, by the way. The the Galactus in that, I didn't even know that was supposed to be Galactus until probably my second watch of that movie. They pretty specifically say his name, but I was like, where is he at?
Right.
And to see him in this movie was I was in my seat giddy. It was the first time I was giddy for a Marvel movie, sitting in a seat and so just nerding out in my seat.
Oh yeah.
Since probably Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield showed up in No Way Home. I loved every minute. This was so perfect to show him. I'm so glad they got Ralph Ineson to do this, because when I heard he was doing it was shortly after I saw The First Omen, which is one of my favorite movies of the 2020s so far. Because I knew he had the deep voice. I was like, oh, yeah. He's gonna do fantastic. You're gonna hear me say fantastic a lot for this. It was just incredible. It was everything I ever wanted and more. I don't think I could have asked for more than what I got. Just an incredible, a daunting, like this overarching character that you just are scared to be in the presence of.
Yes.
Like, he's not even raising his voice and you're already backing up.
You're terrified, right? I think they did a great job, specifically when they go onto whatever planet he's on and into his lair. But they did a great job of building that up, of just how massive Galactus is. And him sitting at his throne was very intimidating. I'm not gonna lie. I'm in the theater like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, to your point, massive. And then that voice totally fit his character. So agree with you 100%, man. I thought very well done. Like, and you know, again, 25 years ago, the technology wasn't there to capture that. But I am so glad if there was one character that they did, it was Galactus, because this movie truly did pay homage to him. It gave him some justice. I really did. I felt that way. So, yeah, man, great cast, great performances by everyone. We'll delve into that. It was released July the 8th. Oh, my God.
Ah! You're a little off there.
Oh, wow. I just know. Holy crap. Okay.
So it was released July 25th, 2025.
2025. Okay. Wow. And I did spell check and everything. So the original Fantastic Four was released July the 8th, 2005. So 20 years ago. And then, of course, this one was released, like you say, Jordan, July 25th, 2025. So sorry about that, guys. I guess you got to do more than spell check. Looks like the projections for the opening day were 24 million. The opening weekend, it looks like they're projected between 190 and 210 million. I don't know what the exact figures are now, but I know Friday night they did well. According to sources, the recent MCU film Fantastic Four First Steps debuted strong at the box office, earning 24.4 million in previews, which is basically everybody that bought the tickets ahead of time. They will, of course, calculate all of the figures, and we'll find out Monday, I guess.
Yes. So actually, in its opening day, it made 56.5 million.
That is
which
crazy.
Is the second most by any film in 2025, behind like a couple 100,000 behind Minecraft.
That's crazy.
And Minecraft was more of a that was something that like a whole fan base had never even seen before.
Right.
And so you have a whole large group of people
starving
for nothing. They've never experienced anything like that. So seeing Minecraft for the first time, I get why that is like that. Seeing Fantastic Four, obviously, and Superman is then third.
Yeah, correct. Well, again, it looks like it's going to end up doing great. So definitely enjoyed that. And with that being said, man, let's get into it. So this takes place in the 1960s uh, style retro futuristic alternate Earth 828, which in Marvel, of course, you have universes that are given basically three digit numbers. So the main Marvel universe is 616. This one takes place on Earth 828. And that's important because the Avengers and all of that took place in 616. So if the Fantastic Four are to be in Doomsday, and it's definitely been confirmed now that they are in it, then obviously this is going to be a multiversal film because you're going to have characters from different universes. But it introduces Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, Ben Grimm as a close-knit superhero family. And the thing I liked about that, and I know you're probably going to take off in that they did the whole, we're just going to recap the origin story. We're not going to do the whole thing. I liked it. I know you like your origin stories, but apparently you were okay with it. So go ahead and speak to that for us.
This is a huge difference between this movie and Superman, right? We get thrown into the worlds of both these films.
Okay.
The difference is we visually see them go get their powers, like the whole like I don't know how to describe it, that Tonight Show style like presentation show that they on. They like that was the showing us how they got their powers, seeing the old film. That is, if you are going to drop us into a universe and introduce us to characters for the first time and not show the origin story, this is the perfect way of doing that, because I get to see them, I hear them go through all of that. I don't necessarily see them transform, but it is everything. It's everything you are introducing us to characters, because like Superman, for example, like I've said with all characters, everybody's origin story is very different. I don't know how necessarily Superman got here in terms of like his cousin Supergirl. I don't know how he was raised with them. I don't know when he got his powers. What I know about this group, this Fantastic Four, compared to others, is that Reed was on a mission going into space and brought all his whole family, his best friend, who's a scientist, his wife, who's a scientist, his brother-in-law, who's a scientist, which I'm so glad that they made that change. He brought, and there was a need for a group of scientists to be up there, unlike the 2005 film where Chris Evans is just a pilot, and that's I say Chris Evans because that's basically every time I see him, I'm like, oh, Chris Evans. But this is just you get to see things, you hear them screaming as the screen goes black because they're shape shifting. You hear the recording of them over the ship, and then you see by the end of it, the Thing's arm punched through the spaceship. Like, that is the perfect way of showing us. They show us some of their first fights. That top right comic right there was the prequel comic. Like, if I didn't read that, but going into this movie, if you wanted to get an origin story, there you go, that top right comic. But they brought like some of their other villains and stuff and who they fought over the years. They tell us a recap and they show us a recap. There's a difference with something like Superman. They were telling us, but they weren't showing us.
Right.
They were telling and showing us this movie. That's a good point. Yeah. And that's why it's just on another level of I have issues with Superman because it's not an origin story. I have no issues because this is exactly what you want.
Well, I mean, that's good to hear. My daughter said essentially the same thing. You know what I mean? But that is good to hear, and I didn't think about that point because I watching that last night. I just knew, Jordan's gonna take off. Like I was
I
the
love
first thing in my mind, like, oh, you know what I mean? So it that's refreshing to hear. Well, we'll get into it. So Grimm, let me see. They were obviously called into action against, Annihilation by Galactus and his herald, the Silver Surfer. And basically, the Fantastic Four must balance familial bonds with high stakes heroism alongside their newborn son, Franklin Richards. They fight to save the Earth. I thought that family was a devout theory in this movie. Like I really enjoyed that theme woven throughout the tapestry of this construction, because it really was. It's all about family. And there were some funny moments, right? Like when it's funny how connected they were. So that they walk in late for dinner, and Sue is, they Johnny says you're late, and Sue's like, both look caught, like, oh shit, like how do you know? And Ben is the first to figure it out, like, wait, you're pregnant? And Sue's like, yeah, and of course Ben gets up and hugs her. But the care and the love that he demonstrates in doing that, you could see the connection between them. And of course, Johnny gets up and says, we're going to be great uncles. You're going to struggle to figure it out, but it's okay. And then, of course, Ben says to Reed, you haven't freaked out yet? And Reed's like, yeah, I scheduled it later. Don't worry about it. And it was, I thought that was pretty cool, because that's exactly what Reed would do, right? He'd overanalyze and overthink everything. But I liked Reed's humility. I really loved the Thing's humility. They did a great job of the gentle giant character that Ben Grimm really is. And they also did a great job of showing just how close each of them were. Like, a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of younger folks, but Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm are like brothers, like, because they cut up and they're around each other every day. They are so close. As a matter of fact, there's a comic book where Johnny Storm dies. Is it the Annihilator or the Nullifier or whatever? Dude from the negative zone or whatever.
Annihilation.
Yeah, Annihilation.
Yeah,
I hate
Annihilus. That's
Annihilus. Thank you. I hate that guy. I hate him. Anyway, he's coming from the negative zone and trying to bring it to Earth. And Johnny has to go into the negative zone and fight all of them and close the portal. And Johnny says goodbye and dies. And all of Marvel, first of all, Fantastic Four being the first family, all of Marvel is crushed. But the Thing specifically really goes through a depression because they are best friends. And I bring it up to say that this film encompasses that. I mean, at least that's how it felt to me. Give me your thoughts on the job that they did showing the bond between these guys. Give me your thoughts on that.
I loved the one thing that this movie got right, and was a clear issue with other movies, is the connection between all of the characters in itself, not as the four of them, but between one another. Like, I see a lot of interactions between the Thing and Mr. Fantastic, and the Thing and Invisible Woman, the Thing and the Human Torch. I see a lot of interactions between the Invisible Woman and the Human Torch, Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic. I see interactions between Mr. Fantastic and the Human Torch. Like, I see all of those interactions, and it's something that was extremely lacking in the other movies. Like, you could look at Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer and say, well, that was more of a Human Torch movie. Like, Human Torch really was the lead in that movie. And in the first Fantastic Four movie, in the 2005 Fantastic Four movie, that was more of the Thing. And in what I call Fan Four Stick, because of the way the movie was designed in 2015, that was more of a Mr. Fantastic movie.
That was
So
blasphemy, is what that was. That was
it was.
Godfather 3. That should never have been made. I just wanted to go on record as saying that movie, that was heresy as far as Marvel is concerned. That movie should never have been made. Anyway, go ahead, Jordan. I'm sorry.
In fact, the closest any Fantastic Four movie has come to this is the 1994 Fantastic Four movie, which didn't even want to be released. And I'm sure 95% of Marvel fans right now have never seen that movie. It's available on YouTube for free to everybody, because nobody's watched that. I can guarantee that. But that movie was probably the closest it got to a connection between everybody, because that movie's more of just pulled straight out of the comics. It's not, there's no detail to that. But with this movie, I got to see so much connection, and it wasn't like, there wasn't the Marvel quips that are annoying. It felt like phase 1 and 2 humor with this movie. And especially it felt like familiar humor. It felt like it felt like humor that only you and your family will be able to understand. Like, you can't just say that to anybody, any friend of yours, but you can say that to your family. And that's one thing that I loved about this movie, is the family aspect. Because if you look at all the Avengers movies, the first Avengers movie, clearly they're not a family, but they're a group of people working for the same cause. You look at Age of Ultron, and I saw this in a video of someone's review. They said that the closest we ever got to this family dynamic was before Ultron showed up in Avengers Age of Ultron, when they're all like drinking, having a fun time, they're partying, they're trying to lift Thor's hammer. That to me is one of my most underrated favorite scenes in all of the MCU, was that scene in Age of Ultron.
When Iron Man says, "When I'm elected king, I'm going to bring back Prima Nocta." That's so Tony. Sorry, that was funny. Anyway, I'm sorry.
All of that whole scene's so cool. And then in Infinity War, you don't really have any sort of family dynamic. It's more of you see Thanos, I guess, with his family dynamic, but which sucks. Endgame is probably the most family oriented in terms of trying to bring together their family. Guardians of the Galaxy, all 3 movies are more of everybody butting heads. The third movie, I think, is where everybody really comes together and starts to build a family. But then they separate by the end of the movie. And this whole movie was the most family-centered Marvel movie ever. I have no doubt in my mind to even say that. Every single interaction between them. And look, I saw behind the scenes stuff. I saw interviews between all 4 members. They were going to bars in England together after shooting days. They were hanging out, and I'm thinking like, all right, this is probably just an act. Like, I don't know. I don't know if they're necessarily gonna have this presence in the movies. I don't know if I'm going to see them as like an actual family. I don't know if there's other behind the scenes issues, because we never know until like years later. But they genuinely have a familiar bond, all 4 of them, off the set and on the set. And I loved every aspect of this. Marvel and Disney nailed this casting perfectly when it came to the connection that all 4 of them, 4 actors, bring with one another.
I think that's why it's important to have someone who is an actual fan of the comic to do it, because they, a lot of times these studios will be like, oh, well, we're going to focus on this character because they think it's going to pop. And unless you truly understand the subject matter and you've been a fan of it and you've read it, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's where misses happen. Even in Daredevil, the first movie, which basically sucked, one thing that they got right was Michael Clark Duncan, because he felt like a true Kingpin. Like, even though he was African American, the soul, the character, the look, everything was Kingpin, right? And that's important when you're making a movie because there's certain things you can't lose, right? You just can't lose. And I think they really did get it right. Let's talk about the futuristic style, man. I really like the balance between yin and yang or old and new. So in this 828 universe, this takes place in the 60s, but they have technology far beyond the 60s. And it's kind of cool the way they do it, right? So they have essentially what is a record player or chronograph, but it records data, right? Which I thought was kind of cool. And it's like a record, but it's also a big ass disc that you record interactions on, which I thought was cool. They had these old looking 1960s cars, but they flew, right? And of course, as you introduced via your popcorn maker, they had Kirby, which is the latest thing in AI. And I just thought Kirby was great. Look, man, when you're flying through universes and you need your AI robot to help you out, you could do a lot worse than Kirby, man, because he helped them out in some situations. They barely got away from the Silver Surfer a couple of times. And I thought that this was genius where, dude, you're going to ride your way into a black hole and then barely skirt out and trap the Silver Surfer in there. Great writing. Love the way they did it. Sue Storm has a baby in space. What? Insane, man. Just the balance between old and new and the technology was great. The look of the 60s, but yet also a technological society. I just think that they nailed this. I really do. But talk to me about your thoughts about that specifically.
This is going to be one of those aspects of this film that won't be appreciated for years, because if you're Matt Shackman and Kevin Feige and any of the writers, any of the producers on this movie, you're thinking, all right, we have to figure out a way that this isn't completely futuristic, but also not too old. It needs to be the right thing to where it's the 1960s, which, all right, I will say the majority of this film takes place in the year 1965. So we are right in terms of the order in terms of where we're reviewing these movies. So yes. we're on a good track so far. So you had to show futuristic technology, but incorporate it in an old way. So like when they showed like the sounds from throughout space, they showed it on the screens, but it looked like old MRI machines.
Yes.
It looked old on the screen, but the idea was ahead of its time.
Yes.
So, and on the ship, when they landed on Galactus's ship, and they dropped down, they used an elevator you would see like in a mine shaft, but it looked newer.
Yeah.
And so it's such a interesting way they take old things and make them newer. They're not necessarily like for us. If they
repurpose them. They repurpose them. Yeah.
Like for us, if we saw any sort of record player, we'd be like, "That's older." Like I have a record player. I have records that I play, but to hear voices
you are an old soul, man. You've been here before, dude. You are an old. I swear to God, man. You really are my brother from another. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up, man. Go ahead. Of course you have records, Jordan. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I also have CDs too, and I have Apple Music. So they have records that they use every day, which is very 60s. But the thought of tracking sounds from throughout the universe onto that galaxy is way ahead of this time we are in.
Yes.
So
Yes.
being able to balance those things is something that I don't know when I don't know when the internet or people in general or the media will ever truly appreciate what this
Agreed.
movie
Uh,
has done.
Agreed 100%. And didn't he make a Rosetta? Did he make a Rosetta Stone reference?
Yes, he did when he was
Yeah.
translating
Yeah. Yeah.
the voices. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, and you know what I mean? It's funny when he said it, I was like, yeah, and then I was, wait a minute, it's the '60s. What the? So you can see, you know, that they kind of intertwined things regarding that. But I thought they did a great job of that. Just the look of that. First of all, I'm a big fan of the '60s. I love the clothes. I love the hairstyle. I'm a fan of that time. Like the '50s, they were okay. But the '60s were my time. '70s, everybody's wearing afros, smoking cigarettes and whatever. But the '60s just kind of had a classic feel to it. You know what I mean? So I thought that was a great time. And just again, the mixture of yin and yang, old and I thought they did a great job with that. I really did. Let's talk about the tone of the film. So I would say the tone of this film is hopeful. It is now the tone of this film is very much '60s. There's no doubt about it. You definitely got the Fantastic Four are going to save all of us. They're great. Here you go. Oh, we're going to have them on the talk show. Like you really did get that Johnny Carson late night feel. There was so much, and it was great, right? It was. Well, for me, it was great because I was born in '70, so you know it took me back, right? But I think they did a great job of that. And there are obviously no obvious Easter eggs, which I kind of at the end, but whatever, you know. But there are no obvious Easter eggs. They just kind of let this story play out, and I really love the fact that that they did that.
I will say there's one major Easter egg that I'm so glad they did this. So I mentioned the '94 Fantastic Four film and that nobody ever watched it. The only reason that they made that movie was so that the studio could maintain the rights to the Fantastic Four. So they rushed the whole project. They could care less about those people on that film, which sucks. But the four members of that Fantastic Four are still alive. They're doing well. And all four of them are in this movie in cameos. All that scene at the beginning of the movie where everybody's like, thanks, Fantastic Four. And you see four, I'm pretty sure firefighters, or I don't remember who they were. All four of them were all four of the original members of that Fantastic Four movie.
I did not know that.
I'm so glad that they did that. So
I got to go back and watch that, man. I definitely got to go back and watch that. So, you know, obviously Fantastic Four are doing their thing. They get, you know, confronted by this threat, which is Galactus and the Silver Surfer. And they figure out a way to go see him. And he says, look, I'll save your world if you give me your child. And this is where it kind of got real for me. But then the way that they ended up playing, I don't think was realistic, right? So, you know, first and foremost, when Reed comes back, me personally, there's no way I'm telling them what he asked for. I'm just not, because that's my son, and I'm going to protect my children. I'm not putting the pressure of just give away your son. You give away your son. Like I didn't like that at all, because it was hypocritical. There's nobody on this. Well, there are very few people on this planet that would give away their child. Okay, I have 3 of them, and I wouldn't trade my kids for anything in the world. Damn the world, damn you all. I'm not giving my kids away for nobody. And Jordan, I love you, but hell no, I'm not doing that. And I definitely wouldn't come back from space. Well, what did he ask for? Well, he asked for my son. What? I didn't like that. I didn't think that was realistic. Most people would not let that out. Now, give me your thoughts on that, Jordan. Because I didn't like that because you're putting, no matter what, people are going to remember that's the kid that, like, you know what I mean? You're putting so much pressure. Now, he can handle it. I mean, he's Franklin Richards, and he literally can create his own. He's a reality warper. He's one of the most powerful people ever in the Marvel universe. But to me, that is unfair and undue pressure that I would never put on my kids. But let's talk about that. What were your thoughts? And give me your thoughts exactly when he does that. Because that one caught me off guard. When he does that, give me your thoughts.
I knew he was going to do that. Because that's Mr. Fantastic. That's what they did. All right, I'm going to talk about all four actors playing each role, and I'll get into why that's Mr. Fantastic. So, all right, Ebon Moss, Backrock as the Thing, portrayed perfectly.
Yes.
That, honestly, it reminded me of Michael Chiklis. Michael Chiklis was more blunt with his humor, but you with the Thing, he's more of a softie. Yes. And I love that. I love seeing that.
Very gentle giant. Very gentle giant.
I forget what his name is, playing Johnny Storm. He's in Stranger Things. When I heard he was going to be playing Johnny Storm, I was like, oh, I think he'll do well. And he blew me out of the water. Very clearly so much better than Chris Evans' portrayal. Now, I love Chris Evans' portrayal. I love Michael Chiklis' portrayal. I love that whole casting except for Jessica Alba, and I love Jessica Alba. I just think she was miscast. But they're not the Fantastic Four from the comics. They're just like a overly saturated version of those characters.
Yes.
And this Johnny Storm is perfect, and him being smart explains why he's in this group and why he got to go to space.
Yes.
Because in other iterations, it's like, why did he get to go to space?
Right.
Is he dumb? Like,
right.
He's a pilot? Yeah, but this is a spaceship.
Right.
Vanessa Kirby, when I heard Vanessa Kirby was going to be Invisible Woman, I thought that was the perfect casting. I don't think there's any other actress in Hollywood that I would have rather had as Invisible Woman.
Yeah.
I've seen her in Mission Impossible. I've seen her in Hobbs and Shaw. I've seen her in many different things, and everything. I'm like, she just does such a great job of with her screen presence. And for Invisible Woman, I need an actress who can grab your attention, and she just does such a great job of doing that. And she is this powerful woman, and she doesn't necessarily need Reed, and Reed doesn't necessarily need her, but together they form this beautiful couple and this beautiful family with all four of them. And then Pedro Pascal, this was the one I was worried the most about.
Okay.
When I heard he was cast, I was like, oh, because I was on the John Krasinski train. I thought John Krasinski.
Yeah, me too.
Before Multiverse of Madness, I'm like, that's my Reed Richards.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I got to see him in Multiverse of Madness. I was freaking out when I saw him. But when I heard he was going to be Mr. Fantastic, I was like, oh, okay. Now I love him in The Mandalorian. I loved him in that movie with what is his name? I forget what his name is. There was a movie with an actor. I was about to say Ben Stiller. No, it's not Ben Stiller. From Ghost Rider. Nicolas Cage. Duh. I just completely blanked on Nicolas Cage. There's a movie with Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage plays himself, and Pedro Pascal plays like an overly obsessed fan who's also really, really rich and shady, and does such a great job in that. Everything Pedro Pascal does, I'm like, this dude's awesome. And I was extremely worried about this. I heard Adam Driver was in the running, and I was like, oh, heck no. Um, I didn't want that. And I think Adam Driver can be good at times, depending on the role. I just don't think for Mr. Fantastic it would have been fantastic. But Pedro Pascal exceeded my expectations as Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Fantastic. In fact, this is the best portrayal of all four characters. Very clearly. I have no doubt in my mind they were better than any other iteration, and that's saying something because I love a lot of the 2005 film and Rise of the Silver Surfer. I love those characters, and the actors in the 2015 film are great, but the movie sucked.
Terrible.
But Pedro Pascal with Mr. Fantastic, you need to be so smart that you realize you are the smartest person alive. Yeah. And the thing is, it comes
down between him and Tony Stark, right? Him, Tony Stark, Black Panther. Like, basically, the Illuminati are the collective of smallest folks.
It's mainly Mr. Fantastic. Like, yeah, those characters are in this group, but Mr. Fantastic is always been the smartest person, the smartest character throughout the comics.
Yep.
And it shows his faults too, because in some iterations of the comics where all of the three other members of the Fantastic Four die, Reed becomes a villain because he's the only one there, and all that's left is his intelligence and his brain thinking about every single possible outcome, which we see in this film. We see him go through all the possible outcomes, whether positive or negative.
And he says that. He says, I have to consider all outcomes. And we'll get into the argument they have, which I thought was so funny. Oh my God, I thought it was so funny. But go ahead.
So this is the reason why this version of Mr. Fantastic is so well with the rest of the Fantastic Four, is because they all keep him grounded. And that's the reason why he told everybody is because he's not thinking about the implications of this. He's thinking with logic and straightforward facts, and he's presenting the facts to everyone. That's why, but right before he says it, he says we weren't necessarily prepared for this speech or anything, because you need to basically hand him a speech. Otherwise, he's just going to say everything he knows.
Okay.
Mr. Fantastic is probably the worst liar in human history. And it's not because he can show it's not because on his face he's smirking and stuff like that.
He's just data driven.
Yes. He's like, you ask him something, he'll be like, well, yes. And of course. It's like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. Yeah. Like that's how Mr. Fantastic is. And so I completely when I first saw the scene, I'm like, he's gonna tell them. I know he's gonna tell them. He shouldn't tell them because he should keep this under wraps. But honestly, and I also think telling everybody helped progress the story to get the rest of the world. We feel for more of the rest of the world because this is how people would react.
Absolutely, how they would react. They wouldn't give a damn. They wouldn't. It's interesting. I wasn't thinking about it in those terms because when he put that out there, my mouth dropped. Like, why would you? Like, why? There is nothing positive that is going to come out of you telling these folks that, because they're just going to think about themselves. Okay. 9 out of 10 folks that I know. Okay. And I don't even know your mom, but I know by the care that she raised you, she wouldn't trade you for anything in the world. Right. And definitely if your mom went into outer space, she's not going to come back and be like, oh yes, well, they gave us, she's not going to say anything about it like I wouldn't. Right. I'm not going to say shit. Well, what happened? He just didn't want to do it, guys. It's going to be for me. He just, you know what I mean? I'm not going to tell them anything about any of my children. And I wouldn't do it because of as a parent, I'm not only thinking about today, but I'm thinking about 20, 30 years from now. I don't want my kids to be labeled with that moniker. You almost cost us everything. Like, you can't outgrow that. Well, unless you're Franklin Richards, because you can warp reality. But most kids do not have warp reality powers. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, I, with everything in me, I didn't like it. But I tell you what was funny. Was the argument that Reed has with Sue about him even considering giving up Franklin. And it reminded me of an argument that I had with my wife, and this just comes down to men and women being different, right? So I'm going to tell you a story. I don't think I've told you this story before. I'm going to tell you the story. So I had Dave, who we did the show with last week. Dave came into town a couple of weeks ago, and Dave's fiance plays the guitar. And, I have a guitar that my parents had. And, when your parents die, people do weird shit, man. I wanted everything of theirs to like just hold, and I was missing them or whatever. And I guess shit, man, you grow out of it. So anyway, she was talking about playing a guitar, and I had this guitar up here that's collecting dust that I guess Mariah and Maya played with when they were kids. So I took the guitar down to see her play it, and it's a little out of tune and it's missing a string. So she really wasn't able to play it, but she tuned it with so much care that I thought, well, maybe she should have it. You get what I'm saying? I thought this, right? But, I'm not stupid. So I said, well, hey, Maya, do you have any undying love for this guitar? Maya says, yes, I do, right? I guess Maya didn't like it, so Maya went to Kim, my wife, and told her about it. And so it's Monday morning. I'm waking up. I'm checking on some stuff for work, right? And my wife is like, oh, we got to talk. We got to talk. And I knew what she was talking about. And I was like, Kim, what are we talking about? She's like, so tell me what you were thinking about this guitar. And I said, Kim, what did I do? She said, doesn't matter. I want to know what you were thinking. And she was literally mad that I even thought, okay, we got into a drag down argument because I'm like, we're talking about thought crimes. Like, I didn't do it. You know what I mean? Give me some credit. At least I had the common sense to say, hey, Maya, do you have any undying? You do? Okay, cool. It never happened. But you want to legislate my thoughts, which pissed me off because I'm like, it's my brain. You don't tell me how to think, damn it. But she wanted to understand. But the more I explained it to her, she just got madder and madder. And what's funny about this to me is that, and she sets him up perfectly because she's like, so tell me, tell me what's going on. And he's telling her about how his brain works. And he says, I have to consider every possibility. And she's like, I know you. But she gets mad. The whole crux of the argument is that he would even consider trading their son, right? And I thought that was funny because that's some shit my wife would do. That is textbook Kim. If we were arguing about Zach, if we went to Galactus and Galactus was like, give me Zach, the fact that I would even consider it with my wife would be an argument. So I just thought that was true to form. I thought that's a man and woman thing. That's a relationship thing. But that is true because I literally just had this argument about 10 days ago. And my wife was so mad. And the whole time we're having the argument, I'm like, we're talking about my thoughts. Like I felt like Allen Iverson. We're talking about practice. We're talking about my thoughts. Like that's the whole time that's going through my mind. And she's getting madder and madder and madder. And it just descended into this thing. So anyway, man, I just thought that was interesting. But you're right. Reed even says, look, I have to, because he's a true embodiment of the scientific method, right? And you have to try out, you have to prove or disprove negative or positive. So, I thought that was interesting. Give me your thoughts on that specific argument and just the interaction between the two, because I thought that was funny, but give me your thoughts on it.
I think this, I think this got a lot of people relating to just anytime you've ever been in an argument with anyone is like it'll go down similar to this, and that's what makes all four of their connections so great, is that you can find something relatable in each and every one of them.
Yeah.
And this argument they have is I mean, obviously not the what it's about, but the idea of having a thought,
Right.
know you're not going to do that. You're 100% not going to do that, but you're just always thinking about every possible outcome. I'm like that. I think about every single positive outcome. I will not do something, but I will always think, all right, if it goes negatively, how will that affect other things? And it's the Batman theory, right? Batman's always planning ahead for everything, so he's always one step ahead, and there's always people one step ahead, but he's always one step ahead of that person. So you have to think about every possible outcome in order to get that one step ahead of that one person, and that's a lot of people's mindsets.
That's all I was trying to tell my Kim. She would have. I wish she could see this. I wish she could see just this sequence so she could understand. Because Jordan, she's still mad about it. I don't even bring it up. She's still mad about it. It's been 10 goddamn days. She's still mad about it because I had a thought. It was a thought. I feel like Rachel and Ross. We were on a break, Kim. It was a thought. Jesus. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I and you're right. I think the way that Reed is written, being that he is so intellectual, and but at the same time he did have some deep moments, and look at that is, first of all, that's a heavy weight, man. That like this is kind of, I don't want to say religious territory, but kind of religious in that, well, he gave his only begotten son for the world. Like, I'm not giving my son for anything. I'm not giving my daughters for, I'm not doing it, right? Which is why I'm not God. So it's fine. But I just thought that the way that he was written was just, it was great. And I agree with you. I think he far and exceeded expectations. I thought he was outstanding.
And I love Vanessa Kirby. I love Vanessa Kirby in this scene too, because this type of conversation is not a conversation that any two people could have.
Right.
It has to be two people who have known each other for a long time.
Yes.
And be able to, not Professor X read minds, be able to understand someone else's thought process.
Right.
So she knows the answer. She just wants him to say it, because she just wants him to say not that he thought that, but that he knows he's wrong.
Right.
In ever thinking that.
Forever,
so I
right.
understand.
She wants him to be all in on the dad train. Like, you shouldn't have even had that thought, and perish it from your mind.
And I love her part in this. And when he finally says, yeah, I mean, that was a thought that came to mind.
Right.
She, this is where I love how they use Invisible Woman's powers in every movie. When she wants to walk away from a situation, and like she just goes invisible, and it's like, all right, can't see you. And then we follow this up like 2-3 scenes later, where the thing is in the bed, and Human Torch is like reading something in a chair, and then she just shows up out of nowhere and says, "Hello, boys," and scares the crap out of both of them. One of my favorite scenes, because it's something so little that, but I love it, because let's be frank about this. If anyone you knew had invisible powers, they would do something similar. They would scare the crap out of you all the time. It's so great. So I love this interaction between this argument between the two of them so much, because it's very realistic, not the
Yeah.
context behind it, but in terms of having an idea and thinking through a thought process versus thinking with emotions.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Reed's character arc is balancing the global responsibility and the personal responsibility for raising his son. And I think, and I don't want to call him a control freak, but most people that are that intelligent are control freaks. And the fact that now you have this son and you cannot control this. And to me, this is his arc, is like, how do I figure this out? Because he literally says, guys, I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer. And for him, not having an answer is like Superman being without his powers. Like, he's Reed. You get what I'm saying?
And you see that arc too when he has Franklin in his arms and he's gonna do like another scan of a scan of him, and he's like, you know what? I'm not doing this. Whatever you become, I will always be okay with. And I love that interaction. I love all the little interactions between everybody in this whole movie. But I love that because it bleeds into potentially future movies.
Well, but let's also talk about the fact that, let's go deeper with that. So, with a lot of technologies nowadays, you can figure out genealogy. You can figure out the percentages that you have of having this gene or that gene, of this sickness or that sickness. And so for him to just say, hey, don't worry about it. Whatever you become, I'm going to accept. That's a statement about today. That is a major statement. So, I like that as well. Let's talk about Stu Storm. And she really is the emotional. First of all, she's the matriarch, but she's the boss of that. She's the low-key boss of that house. Like, I know Reed Richards is the man, but she's the boss. You get what I'm saying? And she carries that, but she does it with grace. I think that's the other thing, right? I think that's what I really like about this, and why it's so true, is that it is written for a woman in the 60s, not like today where she's like, I'm going to take over and rule everything and challenge you as a man. No, she's strong, but she negotiates and she lets Reed do Reed. She lets Reed be Reed, and she steps in where she needs to. She actually reminds me a lot of my wife. Shh, don't tell her. But she's very good at this. One thing about my wife, and please don't tell her, but she does a great job of letting me lead and not cutting my hands out underneath me, right? Like, if I do some dumb shit, we'll have a conversation about it, but we'll have a conversation in private. You know what I'm saying? She's not going to cut me off at the kneecaps. And I'd say the dumbest shit ever. And I have. Okay? Whatever. But we'll have a talk about it in private and rectify it. And that is needed from time to time, right? And what I like about her is she carries the balance, and she lets Reed do Reed until Reed does some stuff like, I don't know, consider giving their son away. And that's when she loses it. And to be honest, I see her point. I see his point, but I also see her point, which is the dilemma of, as a parent, can you even consider this? You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I'm no Reed Richards. There is no scenario in which I would ever consider this, right? If the game is, I have to give you one of my kids, I'm not playing the damn game. I'm just not. You know what I mean? I got 3 kids. I cried when every one of them was born. I love my kids. Say what you will about me. I love my kids. I'm not giving my kids away for nothing. And nobody, I don't give a damn what you offer me. I don't care if you offered me 16 deaths. I'll take them all. I'm not doing that. But I'm not Reed Richards. And I don't even think Reed is doing it to be sinister. I think it is a part of his DNA to consider all outcomes, right? Mm-hmm. It's like Batman in the movie, the animated movie Doom. I totally get what he was doing. Like, you have to consider, what if Superman goes rogue? What if Wonder Woman is taken over by an entity? You got to consider these are powerful beings. And if they ever went rogue, you need to have a plan in place to stop them. So I get that, But even in that movie, they're so disgusted with him. They're so disgusted with him that they can't even see his point. So anyway, I get it, man. But I think she does a brilliant job of writing that balance of maternal instincts, wifely duties, but at the same time being the backbone of that family.
Mhm.
Those are my thoughts. Give me your thoughts on her character arc during the movie.
I mean, all four Fantastic Four members are like a key part of the body. Mr. Fantastic's the brain, Invisible Woman's the heart, Human Torch is the mouth, the voice, and the Thing is the strength, the body. And her arc, what she does so well is she has an input, and that's the difference between this Invisible Woman and Jessica Alba's Invisible Woman. Is Jessica Alba's Invisible Woman was more of like always having an issue with everything Mr. Fantastic did,
right?
And
right, because she was written as a woman of the times, which in a lot of cases is given to challenge men. And look, I'm not throwing women. This is not the place for that. I'm not getting geopolitical, but I'm simply saying a lot of these strong female characters are written to challenge men, right? Mm-hmm. And so that, anyway, go ahead, continue what you're saying. Sorry about that.
I think with her character arc was, maybe of all four Fantastic Four members, I don't know if her arc was necessarily the strongest. Mm-hmm. Maybe because it didn't need to be.
Yes.
There was always, she was always going to be willing to make the sacrifice play for her child, no matter what. She was never going to she was never going to give up her child. But the one arc she did have is allowing. All right. So at the beginning of the film, you see her. She's a voice. She's a speaker to everybody. She's telling everybody how things work, but allowing other people to share a platform with her is something like when she has that speech to the whole city that's around her and shows Franklin to every one of them. And she's opening up her doors to everybody.
Right.
And because I mean, like she says, like her and Johnny didn't necessarily grow up in like the greatest atmosphere with her mom dying.
The death of her mom, yeah.
So I think she opens up the door for other people's opinions and doesn't necessarily discredit them anymore.
Yeah, and that was another case where I thought that was unrealistic, because even though it was a great speech, we're talking end times. And let me tell you something, people in desperate situations, they would not have received. In the real world, they'd have been like, yep, that's great, Sue. Thank you. But
to be fair, she is Invisible Woman. Anyone who, with her powers, there's nothing that any of them. I thought about that too in the moment. I'm like, someone could throw like a beer can right at this baby's head, and but then I was like, she could just put up a force field. So it's like anything. It's not like any of them could have done anything to hurt her.
Right. Correct. No, I get that. I'm just saying they would have rejected her speech, is what I'm saying. People would have been thinking about themselves like, oh my God, that's great, but we're still going to die. We're still going to die, Sue. Give him your son. Like, people are selfish. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, not everyone, but a lot of folks would have been like, whatever, just give me your son, because they would have just thought about their existence. And but again, I think it was a great speech. I enjoyed it. I just think human nature being human nature, they would have rejected that, but whatever.
And I think that's the moral dilemma of the whole movie.
Yes, it is.
Would you give up your child? Because we all know that answer. Would you give up some stranger's child to save the universe?
And
because
I don't know that I could. Well, to be honest,
it makes you go back and forth.
I'm probably just as much as a hypocrite as anybody else. Because I mean, would I be willing to do it? Yes. And look, I realize I'm being a hypocrite by saying that. But if I'm being honest, right? If I don't know this kid, right? Let's say this kid is 13,000 miles around the world. I'm never going to see this kid. It doesn't impact me. My answer is going to be yes. Now, if I got to see the kid every day, if I can see him and touch him, then that's different because now I have to contemplate the weight of my decision. You get what I'm saying? Yep. We got Carrie in the chat and A1. Carrie says, hey, T-Wil and Jordan, hope you guys are doing well. T-Wil, I forgot to ask him. I see you tomorrow morning. Probably not, Carrie, if I got to be honest with you. Probably not. Hey, man, I'm old and I'm feeling the weight of last night's decision today, and I just don't know if I can get up again at 3 or 4 in the morning to come out there, Carrie. I'm gonna have to sit this one out. I'm so sorry. Carrie says, hope y'all are having a great show. We are, and thank you for joining us. A1 says, shout out to the guys. What up, A1? And I mean, we had so much fun today, man. I have to tell you about that offline, but we had so much fun today, man. But anyway, no, I mean, Jordan, you're right. I'm a hypocrite. I can admit this. And it's funny because there's a movie with Samuel L. Jackson called Unthinkable. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen that movie? Where he does something that is so heinous, but he does it to save the United States. And he says people do stuff like this all the time. And it brings up some uncomfortable subject matter. But again, you know, let's go another route, right? What if there's this baby that's born that carries a virus that if it hits the atmosphere, it kills every living thing in sight? Well, you know what we got to do, right? You get what I'm saying? You know what we got to do. Now, nobody.
I don't know if necessarily this is a similar thing. Because, like, you could save the you can still. Here's the issue: is everybody immediately jumping onto, which honestly, this kind of parallels Superman with the monkeys typing on the keyboards, because that's just how social media would work. Is they would jump onto, all right, we just give up your baby, bro. Like that's immediately what social media, what Reddit people would say. And the thing is, and you said, if I don't see this baby every day, then that's fine. But they're the Fantastic Four. So you would see this every time, almost every time you turn on the TV, you turn on the radio, you do anything, you hear about the Fantastic Four. So you see this baby. Yeah. And it's like, just like how Invisible Woman was yelling at Reed about for thinking about ideas but he's thinking about all possible outcomes.
Right.
And what these people aren't doing, and that shows his intelligence, is that they're only thinking about one outcome or two outcomes: kill the baby, save Earth, or don't kill the baby, get
Earth
killed.
Dies. Right.
And they're not thinking about all other possible outcomes.
Right. Well, to be fair, this is Galactus, a world-eating entity who doesn't really lose, right? So, you know, he's undefeated to this point. So it's not like, you know, there are a lot of possibilities. It's like, I don't know, the Atlanta Braves taking on the 27 Yankees. They were pretty good, man. They're pretty good. I don't know. So, I mean, look, it does bring up a dilemma because, again, and I can admit it, man. Because when I saw Unthinkable, like I played out this scenario, and again, if there's a baby somewhere, and if this baby sees the light of day, we're all dead. What's left to do, Jordan? What's left to do?
I'd figure out a way to do something else.
What if you can't though? What and look it.
There's always a way.
I'm not saying I would do it, But do you not think that these scenarios have not played out before?
Oh, I mean, like, all right, in the scenario you said with the disease,
Yeah.
I have already thought, like, instead of kill the baby or don't kill the baby, I've thought, okay, maybe we put a protective barrier around this baby and do. You ever see Bubble Boy with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bubble Boy. That, like, I will always, and I will always think about, like, all the possible outcomes. I'll like, to make sure that everybody is happy.
But what if there's no way to contain this? You get what I'm saying?
There's always
what
a
if
way.
there's no way to
There's-
contain it? What if, you know what I mean? What if,
There's
look,
always a
man,
way.
this kid gets to be a certain age. There's gonna be no way to contain it. Like, you know
There's
what I mean?
always a way.
I
Like
mean,
Mr.
and look at,
Fantastic.
I hear you. I hear you. I'm simply saying human nature being what it is, people are going to think about themselves, right? Unless it's their child, right? Like if he'd have came out and said, yeah, Galactus asked for the firstborn of every man and woman of every couple of it, they would resoundingly be like, no, 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 no. That's the hypocrisy of it. No, that's unacceptable. We're not going to give them our kids. But if it's somebody else's kid that's not theirs, oh, it's the world we're talking about. Just give up your kid, right? You get what I'm saying?
It's like the trolley problem, where you have a trolley going at unthinkable speeds, and there's two lanes of tracks. The one lane has, all right, in different instances, it's all different things. We talked about this for like a month in one of my classes in high school and college, and on the one side, it has one person who could like save a bunch of who could like have the cure to cancer, and the other side has like 5 children.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you
gotta pick a side.
You gotta pick a side. Yeah. And I've always thought about like 3 different scenarios that I've presented to professors, and the one actually has now been included to the problem, and that's you sacrifice yourself and you save both of them. Okay. That's a new one, which is in a lot of books now on that. Another obstacle is you derail the trolley.
The trolley, yeah.
Like there's always a scenario, but most of the time it's a you pick 1 or 2,
mm-hmm.
but there's always a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
scenario, right. And most people just don't consider that because of the pressure and time and whatever. Yeah. But no, man, it's a great exercise, and that's, again, that is a part of what made this film for me so good, because once they put that out there, you know, I'm looking at it from Reed's perspective of, you know, excuse me for saying this, but F y'all. Like, I'm no. This is for the world. No, I'm not. You know what I mean? Because I'm in dad mode there, right? let me tell you something. I'm in dad mode. I'm not giving up Mariah Meyer or Zach for nobody. I really was like, hey man, you know, F the world. You guys, whatever. No, I'm not. Next. Let's go, Reed. Let's figure something out. Because I identified with them at that point. I got mad with him because I'm like, why would you even put that out? Like it pissed me off so bad. I know that it was true to his character, but Jordan, it pissed me the hell off because I was mad with him for like 20 minutes. What the fuck were you thinking, man? Why would you say that? Like, give him a script next time, okay? So
wouldn't it have leaked anyways? Because I mean, he would probably have gotten to the point where he's like, all right, we have to figure with that. If he didn't tell everyone, then he leaves, and then the Fantastic Four have to figure out a way to solve this. And as the story goes on, I mean, they build those like contraptions around the whole world. But if you're trying to convince a country to do this, they're going to ask,
that's true.
Why?
They're going to ask why.
And eventually it will get out to one country, the leader, that's like, oh, well, because they're not giving up their kid, we have to do this. That goes down to their cabinet members. That goes down to their family members. That goes out to the whole public, and the world knows either way.
Well, they wouldn't find it out for me. I'm just saying. Miss Carrie says, no problem, T-Will. I understand. I have to wake up at 3:30 a.m. tomorrow, and I'm so excited I can't sleep. I'll see you at the home opener then. Well, Carrie, you get some rest. I know it's going to be difficult because I couldn't sleep last night because I was excited, so I get it. But believe you me, when I got back today, we started at 8:30 because I needed a nap. I'm old. I had to get my sleep in. But no, man, I think that was one of the dilemmas that really made this great, because as I'm watching that, I was turning that over in my head like, there's no way in hell I'm telling anybody. Johnny Storm is charmful, definitely has a lot of bravado, and I think he looks up to Reed, but kind of is a little competitive with him as well. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So there's that. He definitely has the humor, but he's also very introspective. Like the funniest thing is when he's coming back right after he meets the Silver Surfer, and he's like, guys, I had a moment, and I looked into her beautiful face, and I know what you guys are thinking, like, oh, Johnny and the woman and whatever, but it wasn't even like that, even though it was totally like that. I thought that was funny. I thought that was pure D Johnny Storm. But what I liked about this iteration is he took the time to really try and find her language. And I don't think Chris Evans Storm would even do that. I don't think he would even think to do that. And I like the fact that he took the time to understand her, to research it, and really, this is what happened. And you let all of this happen to all these planets, and I'm just asking you to help us, right? And ultimately, it's what turned the tide. Now, she doesn't help them until the end, but she sits out the fight, right? Mm-hmm. But I thought that interaction with them was great. I thought I really liked that, because to me, it showed that, okay, you've got depth to you. Everything isn't just let me just go and fight and beat her up and let me really think my way through this. And I enjoyed that. And yeah, he kind of avoided his womanizing ways. So I thought that was pretty cool. Give me your thoughts on him, and specifically in that scenario. Give me your thoughts on that.
I mean, I still think he's got that charm. Yeah. This is just 4 years late. Like, this is 4 years later. So, like, we don't see how he interacts with other people on a daily basis. Like, if he let's switch like the Thing and the Human Torch for this. Like, imagine it's the Human Torch talking with a girl that he met, a teacher, and the Thing is the one trying to figure out all the stuff about the Silver Surfer. It wouldn't have been out of character for Johnny Storm to go and do that stuff. It would have been a little odd seeing the Thing try and do all of this, because that's not necessarily what he does. But I liked it. And I think that is why we got a female Silver Surfer, was to improve that connection and improve the character arc for Johnny. Yeah. So let me get into my Silver Surfer rant, because I love the Silver Surfer. Yeah. I love like I told you, if you gave me, if Marvel came to me and said, what movie do you want to do on any character, I would do Silver Surfer, specifically Norrin Rad. Yeah. Mainly because I've thought about the idea of doing Shala Bal, who is the female Silver Surfer, who in the comics is Norrin Rad's wife or girlfriend, and I feel like Shala Bal sacrificing herself at the end to become the Silver Surfer is sort of like fridging, which is kind of So fridging is an example of a female character dying so that the male main character can start his hero's journey. That's how a lot of films are made. Have you ever seen Gladiator?
Yes.
Exactly like Gladiator. That's his family dies, and then it leads to his hero's journey. That's what fridging is when you do it to a female character, and I just think that's a pretty blunt way of fridging a character. It's basically an example of fridging a character is turning Shala Ball into the Silver Surfer. So, with Norrin Rad, I love Norrin Rad. I would make that an epic, and I'm actually really glad they showed Shala Ball on her home world.
Yeah.
I'm so glad because it was like it was like you had a turkey at Thanksgiving, but you can only take a small bite of the skin of the turkey, and it's still fantastic. It was awesome. I'm like, the idea is there for what I picture in a Silver Surfer movie. It's right there. And you could easily make an epic sacrificial movie of Norrin Rad. And it's really right there. With the right director. Like, I think Christopher Nolan, if you take his aspects from Interstellar and apply it to this, I think he would kill a Silver Surfer movie. But I love this iteration of the Silver Surfer. I think it makes sense to make her to make the Silver Surfer a female in this context because it provides to Johnny's character, but also him being able to get to her or emotionally. That's something they kind of played around with that with Rise of the Silver Surfer, where Invisible Woman and the Silver Surfer had this connection, and Silver Surfer Norrin Rad was like, you remind me of my wife Shala Bal. And with this, it's like it's tapping into the emotion of the Silver Surfer, and maybe that's the one thing that I don't think either movie did right with the Silver Surfer, is that when the Silver Surfer gets his powers or her powers in the comics, their memory's wiped. They don't know anything. And in fact, if you go watch the animated show of the Silver Surfer, which was canceled after one season because it was so expensive, even though it's awesome, the Silver Surfer, as soon as he becomes the Silver Surfer, he turns around to look at his own homeworld and says to Galactus, well, why not this world? And Galactus says to him, I made a promise to someone. And that's because he made the sacrifice to become the Silver Surfer. There's so much added layers to this character that I love. I love talking about the Silver Surfer. But that's maybe the one thing that was forgotten, because him losing his memory in the comics is so crucial. It's so important, and it's heart-wrenching, really. It's almost like the ending of X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now, the movie sucked, but it's the ending of that where you did all of that to save all of these people, and you won't remember anything. You won't remember who you are. And it's this heart-twisting thing with the Silver Surfer. It's like you're saving everybody you know and love and to do this deed, and you won't ever remember who they are. And that's so painful, and they can make a really good movie with that. I love this iteration. Shala Bal is great. I also think that they introduced Shala Bal because I think Norrin Rad will be the Silver Surfer of the new timeline, whether that's in the new post-Doomsday, post-Secret Wars Silver Surfer. It's possible they bring her back too. But otherwise, this was a great character. And it being Shala Bal really helped Johnny and his own character arc.
It did. I think redemption is a large part to her character. Because I mean, think about it. If you've seen all of these, and let's be real, you're essentially committing genocide every time you identify. I mean, you're. I don't know what the term is for destroying an entire world, but at a minimum, you're committing genocide. That would have to weigh on a person. Like you'd have to be the kind of person that would have to compartmentalize this in some way to function. And so when Johnny makes this connection with her, he kind of brings all of that to the surface, right? Like this world and that world and this world. And in her mind, we hear the screams, right? We hear the screams of millions of people, and it weighs on her, but it's also the thing that kind of brings her out of this, well, ho hum, here we go, we're going to destroy another world, and literally makes her look at the weight of her decision and ultimately why she decides to sit out the fight. Now, she doesn't help them until the end, and I think we'd be remiss in our duty. The Braves are going to lose again. Jesus Christ. Ugh. These guys are killing me. Okay. Anyway, I think it's that interaction that really brings kind of her sins to the forefront. Like, you've done this on this world and that world, and we see the look in her body language and the look in her face and just how she feels. But I think it's also key that she set out the fight. Like, she didn't help them. You know what I mean? And again, that to me is the most realistic part of this story, because this is Galactus we're talking about. Like, if you're gonna fire at the king, Jordan, you better not miss. You better not miss. She waits until the optimal moment, right? When Johnny is making a beeline and Galactus is about to climb out of this black hole, wormhole, whatever he's in. And at that optimal moment, she pushes him in, right? And sacrifices herself. But if she's even a second too slow or too fast, she's going to die for betrayal. She's going to die. And her home world is going to die as well. So these are dire circumstances. Like, this isn't a decision you could just make on a whim. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Again, it is, you better not miss, right? I understand you feel guilty, and that's great. But if you miss, your family's going to die. Your world is going to die. Everybody you know is going to die. And I just thought that was, it was redemption, but it was a realistic look at, sometimes life is not as simple as, oh, you just go against Galactus. Yeah, right. You just go against whatever. Like, you better have an army. You better have some Avengers and some Eternals, even though that movie sucked. But you better have an army of folks, right? You're not just gonna be able to go against Galactus and win. You better pick your spot. So that was my thought. But
I think all right, so there was a lot of issues with Silver Surfer being a female, being Shia LaBeouf's version of the character, but I like this version. I like Norrin Rad's story a little more. It's not like a huge difference.
Yeah.
But I don't think this movie works if there was a male.
It doesn't.
If there was Norrin Rad.
It doesn't, because that connection would not with Johnny Storm. That connection,
you
have to alter the character's DNA, and it wouldn't be worth it. So I agree. And
the surfboard is not a part of the body.
It is not a part of the body. You're 100% correct. It is not a part of the body. So Ben Grimm, and Ben Grimm's, look at his whole challenge is finding purpose and accepting his new self, right? And learning to be himself in this new body, which most folks would go through that, right? If anybody went through some sort of transformation like that, that's gonna that's going to affect your self. Especially, look, he was a good looking dude. You know what I mean? And now his appearance is totally different. Now I like the beard. I thought the beard was cool.
Yeah, beard
I
was
thought the beard was really cool. But it would affect your sense of self. It would affect everything about you. And a part of his arc is just accepting that. But I thought that he really played this role with a lot of humility and a lot of grace. And I thought it was great. I thought, he was like, when he meets the teacher and he's like, I love kids, and just there, like I had nothing but good vibes from Ben.
Mm-hmm.
I really, he really is a gentle giant. I just wanted to give him a hug, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
The whole movie, I just felt like, oh man, come here, big ever loving thing. Like it just, I don't know. I felt that way. But anyway, yeah, let's talk about, what are we talking about here? Let's talk about some of the themes of this movie, right? So obviously, the main theme of this movie is family. Like if you can't see that, then I don't know. But the main theme of this movie is family, working together, working through their differences. Even in the last scene, I love the last scene, man. I love that, because let me tell you something. Spoiler alert: Sue Storm was not going to be denied. Galactus was not going to have her baby. Okay, he was not, and she. If there was an MVP for that battle, it was Sue Storm. Damn it, because she was like, "No, you're not going to have him," and she starts putting all of her strength and all of her might. Like I would imagine, she probably, and excuse me for saying this, but she probably released some bodily fluids in this battle, trying to get him where he needed to be, because she had to exert so much force. This Galactus, okay? This is like bigger than King Kong and Godzilla. Like this dude is huge. And so for you to put that much, for you to exert that much energy, you got to give it your everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously they make the plan to get the Galactus in this spot and push him through this black hole, wormhole, portal, whatever. And it doesn't work out that way. And she's like, you know what, to hell with it. And she just starts pushing. And I love this because that's a mom, man. That's a mom. That's something my mom would do. That's a mom. And don't get me wrong, I love my dad, but dad, that's a mom. That's something a mom would do. You know what I mean? She was like, no, you're not having my child today, damn it. And she's pushing him. And in the beginning, he's like, oh, that's cute. And then she really starts to do it. And we begin to see her power on display. Don't mess with a mother cub's cub. Just don't do it. Because what's going to come out of that, is an instance of a. Now, I think she could do that 9 times out of 10? No. But in that moment, in that scenario, when you're trying to take her child, most women are going to fight you to the death. They're going to fight you tooth and nail. You're going to get everything that they have. You're going to get all sorts of cocktails. And I just thought that, to me, the way that they work together in that scene, in Johnny and Ben and Reed and Sue specifically, it just encompassed family working together and overcoming adversity. And I loved it. I really did. And when they get Galactus in there, especially when the Silver Surfer comes at the last moment, bumps Johnny out of the way, kicks him in that thing, I was like, yes, I loved it. And then we turn back and look at Sue, and I'm like, oh shit, I know they're not going to kill her off. But then right away, I'm like, no, they got Franklin. They're going to be all right. Mm-hmm. First thing I said was, no, wait, they got Franklin. This is when they're going to find out who Franklin is. And that's exactly what happened. But I loved everything about that scene. It reminded me of my mom. My mom used to make magic happen. Shout out to you, Mom. I love you with all my heart. Funny story. I was a comic book kid like you, Jordan. And I woke up and I just had a really terrible day. Like, it was just terrible. I woke up, I couldn't find the pants I wanted. They were dirty. My shoes, I couldn't find them. And I went to get my favorite comic book and I left it out in the rain and it was wet. And I just started boohoo crying. And I was like, oh, Mom, this day sucks. It was terrible. I was like 9 years old. And so she was like, baby, it'll be okay. Just go to school. And so I go to school, and my mom does not go to work that day. She ironed the comic book. She took her time. She didn't go to work, and she ironed every page. And that meant the world to me. You know what I mean? Coming home as a 9-year-old kid, it's like, wow, it's like brand new. Like, she took the time, and that just, like, in that moment, it made me think of my mom. There's nothing my mom wouldn't do for me. There's absolutely nothing my mom wouldn't do for me. And I just, obviously my mom no longer being there. Like, that was my favorite part of the movie. And then when Franklin realizes what's going on and he's like, no, you know what I mean? And he uses his power to come back. I just, that just touched me. I thought that was the greatest part of the movie. And I loved it. I'll shut up now because I know I'm rambling. Give me your thoughts on that scene and how everything took place in the sequences that it did.
Well, what's great about all four characters, I would say the Thing less, which is interesting because he's the strongest, but they all have like what I call like an ultimate version of their character. Like, Mr. Fantastic theoretically could make his like limbs so small and then get inside you and rip you apart theoretically. Human Torch could go supernova.
Yeah.
And just be a sun. And with Invisible Woman, I mean, she could in the original versions of the comics, she could just turn invisible or make other people turn invisible. But with other iterations of the comics, they introduced her ability to make force fields and all that stuff. And she has the ability to like make a small bubble in your brain and then expand that and like basically blow up your entire brain if she wanted to. She is super powerful. And this is not unrealistic of Invisible Woman to do. Like, I saw this and I'm like, it reminded me of like those situations where like people talk about like moms lifting cars that mom's strength. Yes. That instincts, that adrenaline that gets into you in those moments. And that's what I immediately thought of when I saw this moment. It was incredible. I mean, Mr. Fantastic in that moment, he's like telling her like, you don't know what this is going to do to you. And I'm so glad they didn't give her a nosebleed. I'm sure they toyed with that because that's something Jessica Biel, Jessica Alba did a lot of. But I love that during this whole moment, like the Thing is crushing the pillars so that Galactus's like armrest falls so that he falls further. Johnny's flame throwing him, and Mr. Fantastic, I don't remember what he was doing during.
But they're all working together. They're all working together to get him to the spot where they need so they can get him in that portal.
And that's what I loved about the 2005 film so much, and the way that movie ended is that every single one of those characters had a purpose in the end of that fight scene. And that's why I do hold that movie close to my heart, because I just love that. That is the baseline for a Fantastic Four movie for me. And this movie took that to the next level. And I just love the way that this movie ended. And then Franklin, predictable for me, because I mean I knew because we know the comics.
Right.
For people who don't know Franklin's powers, I'm sure they were like, "Whoa, that's weird." What's interesting is her eyes going that I think blue color. It's similar to that of Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when Ego shows him his power. So that shows that he has celestial like powers.
Yeah.
Which again, you and I both knew that, but not a lot of people who have ever read the comics know that. I love that it's. I love that the idea that Franklin might be hiding his powers from everybody.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting idea. I knew it was happening. I knew it was going to happen because I'm like, they're not going to kill off Invisible Woman
In the first, right.
in the first film.
Yeah.
So maybe that was a little too predictable for me, but otherwise, and especially since that's what happened in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Mm-hmm.
She dies. Silver Surfer brings her back to life. So maybe that was a little too predictable. Otherwise, I love the way that this movie ended. It was a great way of ending this movie, especially the car seat scene where they're all trying to figure out how to put.
That was funny. That was funny.
That was so incredible. That's one scene that I've seen so many people crack up about because they're like, "This is so true." Yeah. All the comedy in this whole movie, it's like, yeah, that's relatable. Every aspect.
Yeah. Definitely, bro. I hate car seats. For that reason, because you got to figure this out. Yeah, but no, man. I love that. Is my favorite scene in the movie. For a variety of reasons, but I just thought that just the way that came together was great. Yeah, I really love the way that movie ended. I really loved the way that they worked together. I love what that movie's about, man. So yeah, agreed. Ultimately, me personally, I gave this movie an 8. I think it was a really good movie. There were times it did drag a little bit. Okay. But for the most part, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the ending. The dilemma of giving up your child to me was interesting because there's no way in hell I would do it. And I gotta admit, when they brought that to the forefront, I probably spent 20 minutes like, there's no way in hell I would do this. So it had me thinking. And I like movies that make me think. So that was my ultimate rating for it. I did give it an 8 out of 10. Give me your rating, man. What were your thoughts on it?
Well, before I give you my rating, let's talk about the end credits. Well, not the end credit scene, but the first Dr. Doom scene.
Yeah, you're right.
What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
I think that Doom is aware of who. As a matter of fact, didn't he do that in the comics? Didn't he reach out to Franklin in the comics?
He has in a lot of different versions. Like he's done it for different reasons. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that from that perspective, that's nothing new. But clearly, he is aware of Franklin's powers. Mm-hmm. And to those of you who are not aware, Franklin Richards is a reality warper. He is a badass. Like, and if we had to rate mutants or superpowered beings, Franklin Richards is at the top of the food scale because he can warp reality. He can make reality whatever he wants. He can make up powers that he doesn't have because it's a part of a reality. You can't beat him. It's like there's Franklin Richards, there's the Beyonder, there's the Mad Jim Jaspers, who scares the shit out of me, by the way, right? Like, if Mad Jim Jaspers showed up today, T-Will, I need that monitor. You got it, bro. You got it. What you need this watch? You need this? You got, because there's nothing you can do. And Mad Jim Jaspers is mad. Make no mistake, like he's crazy. He scares me. That, you know what's funny, Jordan? The two people that scare me the most, and one of them is not, it's not scary, but he's just creepy. But in the Marvel universe, it would be Mad Jim Jaspers and for me, Mr. Sinister, just because he's freaking weird. And on that cartoon, he had that freaking weird voice, and he just creeps the shit out of me. Like he just ill. You know what I mean? But Mad Jim Jaspers is number one on my list because make no mistake about it, if you're not going to stop him, unless you have Franklin Richards in your closet, pause, you're not going to stop him. There's nothing you can do. He is a reality warper, right? And so the thing about it is guys like Doom, they time travel. So they know, right? They would know. It wouldn't surprise me because Disney's talking about bringing back Kang. I could see Kang entering in this storyline because Kang also is a time traveler and would be aware of who Franklin Richards would grow up to be and would probably have something to say about that because he's Kang. He wants all power. So I think it was a harbinger of things to come. I think it was interesting. What will they do with it? Bro, I have no idea. Give me your thoughts.
So Matt Shackman did confirm that was in fact Robert Downey Jr. on set in that. It wasn't just a stand-in either.
Yeah.
So at first when I saw it, the way the cloak was, like it wasn't a different green than we've seen before with the at first I thought, I don't know why, the two Fantastic Four movies, Doctor Doom, popped in my head because it looked like the same cloak. Like they didn't change the shade of green to make it darker or lighter because in different iterations you do see like tone changes. Yeah. But that looked like I thought I was looking at. I thought rest in peace to that Doctor Doom because he passed away.
He did pass away. He sure did. He sure
but
did.
I just kept thinking about him. I was like, and then I was like, I looked at the mask and I knew the mask was completely different, and I was like, that's Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
I think we'll get like a I forget what the World Emperor Doom. I think we're gonna get that, and I think I don't know. I don't think we're gonna get the Beyonder. But okay. I think we might see him absorb the powers from Franklin or from Wanda, or both. I think he might be like on a super. I think kind of like how Thanos went to get the Infinity Stones. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be shocked if he was going throughout the multiverse, getting the most powerful beings and absorbing their energy, kind of like how Agatha started absorbing people's energy. I wouldn't be shocked if like he was doing the same thing to be this World Emperor Doom.
Yeah.
That's my guess. Also, it's a very quick, but you hear a noise and it sounds like he's using the TEM pads from the TVA. The same way that they open and close. Yeah. It sounds like that's what he's using. Or it might be his own technology. We don't know. I love this. This is another end credit scene kind of, which, by the way, the end credit scene for the Thunderbolts is still not resolved. That's, I guess, going to be resolved in Secret Wars because the next movie we have is Spider-Man Brand New Day. And the movie after, and that's going to be street level. So that, I mean, the end credit scene might be related to Secret Wars, but I doubt that. And then the next movie after that is Doomsday.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what we see is probably a scene from Doomsday. Same thing with the end credit scene for the Thunderbolts. I don't know. I'm really excited. I love it.
Well, we will see, my friend. I thought it was great. I didn't know what to think with Doom. Like, I don't know if he's trying to kidnap him. At some point, if you are going to dominate the universe, you have to take Franklin Richards off the board. Mm-hmm. You have to. And I could see them not having a Beyonder in there because that's just another entity that you have to worry about. So why even include him if you don't have to? Now, he was essential to the Secret Wars plot, which we will get after Doomsday. So maybe in Secret Wars we see him. I don't know. But yeah, man, I would agree. Like I don't know what he's gonna do, but I do know if you're gonna take over a universe, you gotta take Franklin Richards off the board very quickly. And the best time to do it is when he's a child, when he doesn't know all of his powers and all of his abilities, and he's not mature enough to understand it, right? But yeah, man, give me your rating for it.
So I kept when I got done watching the movie, I kept thinking about like in comparison to Guardians of the Galaxy, because the Avengers movies we have individual films with individual characters that lead up to the Avengers movies,
Right.
versus Guardians of the Galaxy there's a foundational set of characters in that, and that's what we have with the Fantastic Four. So I had no choice but to compare it to the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. And man, I love this movie. I want to go rewatch it. I thought about it this morning, but I had too much to do. I'm probably going to rewatch it again, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10.
That's awesome, man. That's
I have always wanted a Fantastic Four movie that's been actually good. And I love the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies. I mean, they have a special place. Like, I will put those on if I need to. I'll never watch Fan Four Stick, and the '94 film, that might be a thing I watch once every like 5-10 years.
I wouldn't watch that on a dare if you had like that movie. That's Godfather 3, man. And I know you haven't seen Godfather. We won't get into that now. We've discussed it. But it's Godfather 3, Jordan. It is blasphemy. It is heresy. It is wrong. It is wrong, Jordan. It's just wrong. Okay? It's Green Bay Packers throwback jersey wrong. It's just ew. Golly, that movie was off. Bro, I don't even think I think I walked out. I think that is the one lone Marvel movie I walked out of. Like, it was that awful. It was bad, man. It was whatever. Okay.
But yeah, I have this is my 8th highest rated Marvel movie ever. Any Marvel movie that's ever been done, this is my 8th favorite. I have it above Guardians 1 and 3. Because I think it. So the reason why Guardians of the Galaxy works is because they're a bunch of people who just don't like each other, but they're coming together and they become a family in the end because they all don't have anybody. And that's what's beautiful about that.
Right.
But what makes this go to the next level is this is a family. And they have all of the flaws that every family have. And they have all the same discussions that any normal family will have. They have all of everything that they have. Another thing with the Guardians films, I don't think any of the villains are great. I don't think they're bad. I think they're pretty solid villains, because a lot of that has to do with you have a great ensemble cast in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. So you can't have a villain that's overarching. That's why Thanos only shows up for a couple minutes in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And this Fantastic Four movie having Galactus was incredible. I hope to see Galactus again. I can't wait. Yeah, this movie was just on another level. I depending on a second watch, it might go down to a 9 out of 10, because I did think about whether this movie was better or worse than Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movie, and that's a 9 out of 10 also for me. But right now it's 9.5 out of 10. It's my 4th highest Marvel movie that isn't a 10 out of 10. Okay. And the reason it's not a 10 out of 10, now, I know a lot of people on the internet are nitpicking this movie. I actually haven't seen a legitimate reason why someone would hate this Fantastic Four movie. A lot of it's just nitpicking, little nitpicking. A lot of people saying, "Oh, this scene wasn't in the trailers," which, guess what? I only saw the first trailer and the teaser trailer. Yeah. So I'm really glad I didn't, because everybody's like, "Oh, this scene's missing. What was in this scene?" And I'm like, so what? Like
Right.
there's like in a lot of movies, there's a lot of deleted scenes.
Right.
Like who knows how good The Dark Knight would have been if I mean we don't know. Like who knows how The Godfather would be? We don't know. Who knows how some of the greatest movies of all time would be if we included deleted scenes?
We don't know. Exactly.
So with this movie, I mean, it hit everything I wanted. It has an origin story. It has a villain that is just so menacing and so powerful. It makes you think about internal conflicts, and it also makes you just love this family. You love every one of these characters. The way and the acting is in this is incredible. The acting across the entire board, every single character, every side character throughout the entire movie is incredible. Little scenes to big scenes. You see characters relating to other characters. You see the city and the world involved. You want to be with this world. And I have nothing but positive things to say about it. And maybe the only reason that this isn't a 10 out of 10 for me is I just when I got done watching it, I just said it wasn't one of the greatest films I had ever seen. And it's the same way I felt with Man of Steel. Man of Steel has a bunch of nitpicks, and that's also a 9.5 out of 10. Bunch of nitpicks, otherwise fantastic film. But both films, I can't help myself to say that this is one of the perfect, greatest movies that I've ever seen. So that's it's just not a 10 out of 10 for me, but it is a 9.5. I'm recommending this to every single person that I know, because I think even if you don't like Marvel movies, I think you're going to love this movie.
Well said, man. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think it was. This is a family movie. Like this is, you know what I mean. I'm so glad I took my daughter and my son and my nephew. I used to take them when they were younger. Matter of fact, I think I took them to see all the Fantastic Fours, except for the one in 2015, gladly. You know, I was thinking about that last night. Like, oh wow, okay, they get it. They see this as adults and. It's just so interesting hearing their opinions now as opposed to when they were kids. And, you know, but anyway, man, I would agree. I would recommend this movie to families. This is a family movie. It's a good time. It's a great Saturday night. And I would agree with that. So as you so often do, sir, what is on the docket for next week?
So let's take a look at the spreadsheet. While I'm finding the spreadsheet, I am wearing a Jets Joe Namath jersey for two reasons. So in some iterations of the comics, Ben Grimm is a Jets fan. So I was like, okay, I'll wear a Jets jersey. And also this jersey is from the 1967 season for the Jets. All right, let's see. Fantastic Four. So the next film, so Fantastic Four mainly took place in 1965.
Right.
In an alternate universe. The next film we will be watching, which takes place in a universe we've already explored, is one that I'm not looking forward to, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, wow. Ugh. Yeah. Okay.
Now, I will say about this. When I had my mom rewatch all the X-Men movies in preparation for Deadpool and Wolverine, she loved this movie. I'm like, really? Like, I thought she wouldn't like it. So for some people, this has like this. They secretly like this movie. Mm-hmm. For me, I've never really cared for this movie all that much. But this is going to be the first really mostly negative reviewed movie that we're going to be reviewing.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, bro. But hey, you know, I think we're up to it. It's all good. You know, I mean, we've done what? We've done what? 10, 11 of these now, maybe. We've done.
Let's see. We've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So today was the 5th movie of our MCU rewatch that we've done. We also did Thunderbolts.
And DC and the DC movies.
Oh, yeah, and the DC movies, yeah.
So that's got to be what, 11, 12, somewhere in there?
3, 4. Yeah, we're towards 11, 12, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we got to, you know, I know we can do it. It's just, I'm going to have to work a lot harder.
We got to see it in a new light. I have stories about this movie and when it first released. So, because a lot went down in the making of this movie. And,
really?
Yeah, and I got to see it 2 months before it came out.
Okay. Well, we will have to talk about that. Unfortunately, Dave couldn't get a sitter. So that's why I had to sit this one out. But I'm going to tell him that we're doing Wolverine Origins. And I know he's going to be like, great. No, I'm kidding. I mean, you know, we'll see. He did ask. So I'm going to let him know. And hey, do me a favor. Email me the sketch. I know you did. I don't know where I put it. I know you sent it to me via some sort of Did you send it via text?
Yeah.
All right. I'll see if I can go back and find the text that you sent, because you know we text all the time. And I can give him the schedule, because I think you did it for the next 2 months. I think you did.
Well, I had seen posts. So Sam Raimi's 3 Spider-Man movies are coming back in the theaters, and I was like, this might line up perfectly for how we're reviewing the movies, and it almost does. If we take a break at any point or want to review another movie at any point for 1 week, we'll be online that we could go see the Sam Raimi's original Spider-Man movie, which I'm going to see it.
Even Spider-Man 3, we gotta do that.
I'm gonna do it. Even though I cringe at that movie.
That awful. When you're a jet, like, come on, man, bro. I can't get that image out of my head. I can't. Oh my god. Okay. But Jordan, because it's you, I'll do it. But
yeah, the first Spider-Man movie, if we take a break at any point, lines up perfectly with the re-release of that movie.
All right. Well, let's do it, man. Let's do it. We'd be remiss if we didn't. But yeah, next week is Wolverine Origins, so we will get into that. And oh man, wow, it's gonna be, well, you know, it's not Eternals, so I'm sure I'll find something new that I like about it, and I can't wait to hear your stories in the making of the movie. So definitely save that, man. And yeah, man, let's get to it. But as always, Jordan, man, this is so much fun. I appreciate it. Tell these folks where they can find you.
You can find me at Ultegacy, ULTEGACY. I do all things sports over there, from rankings to news to pretty much everything when it comes to sports. I'm going to be getting into Eagles and Saints depth chart predictions, schedule predictions. We'll pretty much schedule and predictions for the entire NFL shortly. Yeah, you can find me there. And if you want to see some of my rankings of movies, you want to see any of my ratings of movies, all my lists, I'm on Letterboxd, and it's just Jordan Burden, JORDANBURDEN.
Awesome. Well, sir, as always, this was fun, man. I always have fun doing movies with you, and you know, I thank God for it, because I really look forward to it, man. So, hey, this did not disappoint. It's a great movie. Enjoyed it, and we're gonna need to look back on this, because next week is not gonna be the same. Just throwing it out there, okay? We may want to have some caffeine for that, maybe liven it up a little bit, you know. Now, I'll be honest with you, we get to the Eternals, we're gonna need some liquor, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Bump the wine. You're gonna need some liquor. You're gonna need some liquor. You're gonna need something, bro. Liquor, gummies, something to make it interesting. Okay, just saying. I'm saying what we're all thinking. Okay, but anyway, to those of you who joined in the chat, thank you so much. Appreciate that. We do this for the love of comics and everything Marvel and DC, and we love movies, and we love to talk about it, and we love to talk about it with you. So You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to give us a little bit of your time. That does not go lost on us. We thank you for it. We appreciate it. Jordan, as always, brother, I thank you. I want to thank God for waking me up today. And what a wonderful day. Give me the opportunity to go to Falcons camp and come back and do this. This has been an amazing day. And I'm going to go to bed as soon as we get off here because it started at 4. But thank you to God. Last but not least, I want to say thank you to Mr. Jack Spade and Mr. Eric Parker for giving me this business. And again, Mr. Jordan Burden, thank you for doing this with me, man. As always, it is fun. Everybody, you have an amazing day, and we will see you guys next week. Good night, everybody. Enjoy your week.
Hey, we just had such an amazing time. What a show. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. I think you enjoyed it. But either way, how are you going to do that and not hit like, share, subscribe? I mean, we were having so much fun. We can come back and do it again. Go ahead and hit like, share, subscribe. For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. Say again, it's For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. Or grab the link below. For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. Go ahead and click like, share, and subscribe. And guess what? You can come back to the next show or the show after that, or maybe even the show after that. But if you don't like, share, and subscribe, there could be shows that come out that are great that you just miss. And you don't want to do that, do you? We had such a great time. Come on. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. You guys have a great day. Thanks so much for watching our show. And we can't wait to see you again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We thank God for you and we appreciate you. Hit the like, share, subscribe. Until next time. Goodbye.